Aloha, it's great seeing you today. Tell you what, I'm going to lay out a couple concepts here for you, and I hope that this is an easy way to start understanding the distances between intervals. We will apply these to the piano and hear them in nature. So in talking about this, we're going to look at it through the eyes of C rather than E flat or G or D or A like we did today. When discussing the concept of having a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and then the 7, through the eyes of C major, we have a C major, a D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then a B diminished. Out of all of the sonorities that are right here, meaning just as it major, 1, 3, 5, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, 1, flat, 3, flat, 5. That gives us having a major chord, 1, 3, 5, which leads us to being able to do stuff like our pentatonic scale, using Ionian, which is our major mode, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which is what we're using right now to explain all the other different concepts we're going to try to seek out for oral training and then finger work on the piano. When we're talking about our intervals, we are quite literally going to be doing these either in the treble or the bass. Let's just call this our treble clef. We're going to build it out through the key of C. There are no sharps and flats. We're not putting anything. We're not really writing any music, so we're not going to really put any time signature either. However, no time signature means we're in 4/4 comma time. When we're going through our C, E, and G, we know how to find our notes, C, E, and G. When we go through and see a half step up leads to us seeing triads being built, what we want to do is focus on knowing the names of all of the notes on all of the lines here, and then being able to progressively call these out by name, meaning at the end of doing one key in the circle of fifths, C, then going to G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, and then C sharp. You're expressing we could go up in the circle of fifths, 5 notes each time. The only one that's funky is this F sharp. The only way that I can explain it is that we've got an F natural over here, which has 1 flat. That flat is going to be B flat. So when we go through the circle of fourths, you can see how B flat going to E flat, A flat, and then D flat, and then G flat, and then C flat. And you might be asking, why am I writing them over here? The concept is they overlap. Each one of these could be named like E, E flat, A flat. You'll see how there's going to be a symmetry to all these things. That's because sometimes we use shapes to give ideas of how these are going to sound. A square is different than a triangle. A hexagon is going to be different than a triangle. So one of the concepts we learn how to do with the circle of fifths is to go in sharps and then go in flats. The key of C has no sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next time when we go to G, we hit G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. I use this one to let my brain remember it in my image, and then I move around here. Hence, when we get all the way down to A has 3 sharps. C is going to be 1, F sharp is G, but I don't name them G, C, F or C, G, F. I see them as being F, C, G. So each one of those notes now in the key of A major, I could go, cool, A major, B minor, C sharp minor. When we go here, I know that's a D major, A major. When we move through these, it's easy to write A, B, C, D, E, F, and then G. However, if we write these in our brain using something like this, we will start seeing these. This is A minor. It has no sharps and flats. That's why C major and A minor are relative keys. No sharps, no flats. So each one of these, you're just not talking about the 1 here. You're actually talking about all the way over here when we have the 6. That will be A, C, and E. So getting to know what lines these notes are really helps. You can put F on the bottom line, A on the second space from the bottom, C is on second space from the top, and then E is being the top space. A lot of people like to use names or something, like funny antelopes crossing evergreens. I don't know. If you go through that concept, that's just one more thing to learn. What I'd like to show you is a landmark system. The way I see it is, why learn one clef when you can learn both? And this might help in the long run as far as writing. If you're going to be writing out the clef, try and draw two. We're going to be working right now with the bass, and the treble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a bar representing these two clefs are tied together. This is now called the grand staff because we've got the treble clef and we're going to have the bass clef. Now what we're going to try and do is we're going to write just in the key of C major, see some parallel chord notes. You can look at this as being a representation of what you should learn these as. However, when going through this, we're going to use just the key of C. Now I'm going to leave A minor up here just so we can see what it looks like. I'm going to pick a D, and we're going to go to a G sharp. Now notice how the D note right here and then the G sharp are not necessarily buddies. The G, we say, cool, G right here, D right here, which means if we take this G sharp and we put it below the note, this is going to give us our intervals. This is what we're looking for when establishing a curriculum or a core with the piano or any instrument, really. So D, forget the sharps and flats. Just say D, E, F, G. Write that down. There are 4 notes from D to G. Now, this is the magic rule of 9. All these will add to 9. So 9 minus 4 is 5. We have our intervals now, folks. That's all we have to do. They're opposites. When we pick this next note, we're going to say to ourselves, is the key of G sharp, or the note of G sharp, in the key of D? So we're going to go here and say, our circle fifth tells us there are no sharps in the key of C. C, D, E, F, G. There is 1 sharp in the key of G. That sharp is F sharp. And then when we go G, A, B, C, D, D now has 2 sharps. 1 sharp is the F sharp, and it adds 5 notes away the C sharp. So when we say D major, we say D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, and then we've got our C sharp diminished. So our question was, is G sharp in the key of D? It is not. There is a G natural in the key of D, but there is no G sharp. Here's where the next piece comes in. Whenever we go up a half step, which is the smallest distance or a minor second in the Western air, we are doing something called an augmentation. So we name it as such. If we go back a half step, no matter what letter we're dealing with, that becomes a diminished. Here's where the crux is. It's kind of hard to remember what all these are, but there's a simple way you could write these out and you will start seeing it this way. Perfects become perfects. When we have augmenteds, they become diminished. When we have diminished, they become augmenteds. And then any major becomes a minor. So right here, when we go to G, the note in between G and then A would be G sharp. So we are in fact going up, which is an augmentation, so we write that. This is an augmented fourth. The opposite of an augmented is a diminished, so we write that, and we're done with it. And then when we hear these notes, we can play them as hearing a D note going to a G sharp, and when we hear it, it builds tension, because that is not a consonant, it is a dissonant. Hear it in regards to the major triad, hear it as an augmented. Excellent. And then the opposite of this, or when you put that same note, the G sharp, on the lower extremity, it gives us our opposite. Now, the honest to goodness truth is when we can see these notes as being these, and you could representatively take this G and go all the way down, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, you'll find yourself knowing that F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G is right here. Since we have this right here, we have to put our sharp in there because that's the same note we chose. And that shows us what our distances are between 2 different notes. The simplest way to do this is to do it every day. If you pick a key and you try these notes, you will find yourself being able to get through these really quick. The whole point of combining this concept by seeing intervals and then combining the concept of you only have like triads. Those triads are either going to be major, they're going to be minor. You can also have an augmented, or you could have it diminished. So where we're at. So you could use these 3 chord structures to plot them using any and all of these notes from the key you're in. When you combine that with the circle fifths, you start seeing and noticing things. And then the landmark system really makes sense. Like in the key of A, if we were to take the note A right here, and we were to go A, B, C, D, E, F, we could find ourselves moving all the way from A and going up to F here. F, we know, is down here. So seeing these 3 gives us the idea that maybe we don't have to keep the 1-3-5 as a 1-3-5. Maybe we could play it as a 3-5-1. That now is our first inversion. Second inversion. Oops. Second inversion. And the concept is the more we do this over and over again, the easier it becomes. Tell you what, I hope you enjoyed this little lesson. Try and do this on the piano with a key structure that you're getting used to, like something weird, like G minor shares the key with B flat major. Write out the names of all these things, find your intervals, and then try and go through the circle of fifths. And if you would, write a little ditty. Maybe keep your fingers going on some sort of form. Let's say we're in the key